From the festival floor, it's Danni Washington, and we are at the Super Bowl of STEM. This is the 5th USA Science and Engineering Festival here in Washington, D.C. And we have a lot of different people coming through this building during the entire weekend. And not everyone is from STEM or a STEM field. We have Angela Sun here, who is actually a journalist, filmmaker, as well as a sports broadcaster. We're so happy to have you because we know that no matter what career you're in, somehow STEM will touch your life. So tell us a little bit how STEM has, been involved in your world.
Well, thanks for having me, Danny. It's so fun to be here. STEM has always been a part of my life, I guess, because my dad was an geek. So he was he got his PhD in electrical engineering and computer science.
Wow.
And
okay.
I grew up in Silicon Valley, and he worked in hardware. My mom worked at Lockheed Martin. And so our family, I always grew up around it and always around new tech. And I guess I went rogue and did a completely different thing and went into media. So,
that's awesome,
but STEM still bleeds into things that I do. And I know I just mentioned to you that I was talking about STEM when a funny incident happened last year. I was reporting for NBC Sports for the Oakland A's. And I was tossing it back to the studio, right? And so I had like a beanbag. I'm in the STEM zone. I'm like, I'll toss it back to you guys with my funny goggle things. And then I totally beamed a girl. I fully hit this little girl.
Oh no.
And so it was just a little bit it was a total goof. I was super embarrassed, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna rock it. So I rocked my little goggles that make you look different and in the STEM zone, and they had all these cool experiments, and all the kids were out testing things out and taking apart the anatomy of a baseball and all that. So there's science found in everything. And it's been really fun.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, there's definitely a connection. I mean, Lockheed Martin is our presenting sponsor here this weekend. And again, it's the Super Bowl of STEM. So we have everybody here enjoying and celebrating STEM. And we're, again, happy to have you. So I know that you also produced your own documentary.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So Plastic Paradise, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is my little baby. And I've covered this topic about plastic pollution in the ocean since 2005. Is when I first heard about it, and then I went to production with it. And I was working for Al Gore's network at the time, Current TV, and that's kind of what spun the investigative long-form documentary side. But that was my first feature-length documentary, and it came out a couple years ago and made the rounds and was on Netflix and everything. It's still on Amazon and Hulu and in our website, plasticparadisemovie.com. So unfortunately, the problem keeps growing, and so the message still needs to be told, and it never stops. And so I've been fortunate to be able to go and speak about it and really spread awareness and engage and collaborate with people. And really, it starts from my interest of the oceans. And I know that's how we connected.
Right, that's where we met a long time ago. It's been a few years now.
Long time ago, yeah. I'm not even sure which ocean event it was, but I mean, I've seen you speak at different things, and we were in Mermaid Tales the other day.
Yes,
not the other day, but last year.
Last year. But let's backtrack a little bit. So we said we're talking about the problem that you mentioned. What exactly is the problem that you feature in Plastic Paradise?
So there's, I think a lot of people don't understand the full extent of the plastic pollution problem in the oceans. A lot of it is like, oh, just because I don't see it, so it's not there. It's not in my sphere of what I know. But I feel like, over 90% of the pollution in the ocean is plastic, and it's land-based. And if our Earth is covered by over 70% water, I mean, our oceans are the biggest dumps for our trash. And I think it's just beginning to hit the zeitgeist. And there's a lot of reports and studies by scientists that it's growing, and the stat everybody likes to use is by 2050 there'll be more plastic in the ocean than fish, and it should set an alarm. I think it's actually a lot more accelerated than that, and it's not 2050. It's closer to 2025 or whatnot. But again, it's also deep in the water column, so you can't just scrape it from the surface. So I think my goal in terms of spreading awareness about the situation is that it's not just something you can just scoop up and take away, and it's not a simple problem to clean up, but there are other alternatives and other ways that we can combat this problem, which is you can't keep cleaning it if you don't turn it off from the tap and from the source.
From the source, looking at the source and figuring out how can we innovate something else, another type of material that won't cause as much damage but can still help us as humans. We need it. I mean, we've progressed as human society really rapidly in the last few years because of technologies that help us keep moving forward.
And also the interesting thing is what I speak about in the film is about the single-use plastics too. It's not that all plastic is bad. Plastic has been a great technology and a great thing that's been created, but it's just how we use it, how we create it, how we use it, how we dispose of it, that is, has to be full circle. And I think it takes not just awareness, but it takes consumer responsibility, producer and corporate responsibility, and legislation to really make those changes. But it all starts with education. I mean, if you don't know, why would you care, right? So you got to know. And just so, as a journalist and working in this field for over a decade, I feel like I've really tried to show different sides of it, talk to scientists, talk to advocates, talk to all different types of people, go out there and go see it, talk to the industry side, to just show the picture of what's going on. Because I've talked about it so much, I think everybody just knows, and a lot of people don't, and they're completely surprised. So I think there's a long way to still go, but I also think that's important is there's a lot of documentaries that kind of leave you downtrodden or disheartened and kind of like, oh, well, we're done, and I never want to be that way, and I don't think it comes off that way, and kids get really activated when they watch it. And I think the thing about plastic pollution is something that it's very tangible. We touch it every single day. Every person is gonna touch plastic in some way, shape, or form. Unless you're in the highlands of Papua New Guinea in a tribe, you probably have encountered plastic in your life every single day, through the threads in your clothes, through what you're sitting on, to the doors you're opening. Everything is woven into our life. So it's also tangible for us to do something about it.
Well, that's excellent. And I know for our stage show, I'm really excited to talk about all of these things and how we can tell stories from the blue, from the ocean, and what issues are really pressing right now, and how we can protect our oceans, how, scientists and those in STEM can help us innovate new solutions to protect a place that's basically is our life support system here on planet Earth. We need the oceans to be healthy in order for us to be healthy as well. And so I love the work that you're doing and spreading awareness about how we can, look at our behaviors and our patterns and just make it a little better, right? Figure out a new design. Maybe there's a young person here at USA Science and Engineering Festival that would be interested in creating the next, idea what's going to solve this plastic pollution problem.
Well, it's been very inspiring just walking in and seeing all the young faces, and also just to see so much innovation out there that is possible. And so I have a lot of hope in the future and our future leaders, and I always get inspired by the stuff you're doing too, and
thank you.
And sharing about things that we need to push in terms of change, because a lot of it's social too, and it's just understanding that the ocean affects all of us. It doesn't matter if you're landlocked and you've never seen it before, but there's also this sort of blue-mindedness too, and I think once we understand the neurological benefits of being around the ocean too, I know our friend Wallace J. Nichols wrote a book about that, and there's
Blue Mind.
A lot of science behind not just the cool animals in the ocean and how crazy it is, because I'm a total science nerd about ocean stuff and ocean life, but being able to tell our personal stories about how the oceans affected us. And so I'm super excited for our stage show and be able to share that and why I got into it.
Absolutely. And you're proof that no matter what career path you might choose, right, for these young kids here, you can still incorporate STEM into your daily life and the things that you advocate for and how you communicate with others. I think it's amazing that you've combined both. What piece of advice would you give someone who wants to maybe explore what you do and follow your career path?
I think I would tell someone, I think I would tell a young person to really start by being passionately curious. Albert Einstein said, I have no special talents. I'm just passionately curious about everything.
I love it.
I mean, that's Einstein. So I think I always go by the 5 Ps. Passionate curiosity leads you to your purpose, and through perseverance engages people into meaningful partnerships. And I think if you start by finding what you're curious about, being really passionate about it, and whether it's science, technology, engineering, math, sports, broadcasting, whatever, art, just continue on that path and the road will present itself. And it's kind of like taking that leap of faith and really having the confidence and really the passion that drives you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Angela, for joining us. And make sure you join us at the nation's largest celebration of STEM right here at the USA Science and Engineering Festival. And yeah, we're going to have fun on stage. I can't wait.
So fun. Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome.